Hello, everyone. Hope all's well. So we're on our last and final session of Monday evening with a business entrepreneur all the way from Saudi Arabia, Mr. Rami. So I'm going to send him a request. There we go. Super. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be discussing the 2030 vision, um, business in Saudi. He's also been in the Middle East in the Southeast Asia, Hong Kong for a while, and it should be good discussing all these topics with him. So stay tuned, whoever's here, whoever's going to join in a minute. So yep, here we go, Mr. Rami Alashi, and
There we
so
go.
are you well?
Doing well.
This is
Yourself?
this is how easy it is to do a live.
It's fantastic. I like it.
Um, so I'm here today to speak to you. You're a business entrepreneur based in Saudi. I know you mentioned that you were also based in Hong Kong for 30 years. So I'm going to go through your life, through your career,
Sure.
through your business, how you've done it, what you're doing right now. Um, what are your plans for the big 2030 vision that's coming up in Saudi right now? We're like 10 years away. How are
Right.
things moving in Saudi? So I'm going to be speaking to you about all of that. So I appreciate you taking out your precious time, during the month of Ramadan. I know with all these Muslim countries, it's more hectic during the month of Ramadan. And
It's yeah, you're right. It's more busy than the other months, to be honest.
exactly. And now because it's lockdown, we have that sort of 30 minutes here and there to just come out,
Sure.
the knowledge and speak to people like myself, empowering not just me, but there are other people that are going to listen to this video, watch this video over the next few days, months, years, whatever, and get that positivity out in them.
Right.
So I appreciate you coming over, Mr. Rami. Before we start, if you can just introduce yourself as to who you are and what you do, and then we can get the conversation going.
Sure. So my name is Rami Al-Ashi. I'm originally Palestinian.
Yeah.
I was born in Cyprus and moved to Hong Kong almost within the same year.
Okay.
Stayed there for 30 years.
Okay.
During that time, I was in Hong Kong was a British
British colony.
colony.
Yep.
So from that, I got the British nationality.
That's amazing.
So the mix is
So
already quite interesting.
you're Palestinian, in Cyprus, went to Hong Kong, got the British nationality, and now you're
Right.
in. Amazing.
Now I'm in Saudi.
Amazing. So, so I'm sure you've not seen, or you must have seen very little of Palestine or Cyprus, I guess, in your childhood. You must have.
I mean, Cyprus, we went back yearly almost
Okay.
to our house over there.
Okay.
Every summer we'd go back. But Palestine, actually, I've only been there twice. Once was like almost like a tourist visit,
Okay. Okay.
and the second time was to marry my wife.
Oh, amazing.
So yes,
So both times was like recreational. Like I like it.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
so I believe most of your schooling, college, university, everything was done in Hong Kong, I guess. Right?
Everything up to university,
Oh,
and then I went to Stanford for my master's.
oh, amazing. So while you were in Hong Kong and you were doing your studies and everything, what did you aspire to be in life? Is it something different to what you're doing today, or no? You thought about, okay, I'll be a doctor or a lawyer or an architect or an engineer. I mean, Hong Kong is overpopulated, overcrowded with with,
Yes.
with people, and I'm sure back in the days as well, it must have been. Um,
Yes.
so what did you grow up thinking that, okay, I want to do this, for example?
Originally was to join my father's company.
Okay.
but I had to.
Father do?
He's in import export, so he
Oh,
opened a company in Hong Kong in 1985,
okay.
which I recently became a director of, but
Okay.
that was much, much later. So between him opening the company and becoming a director,
Yep.
there needs to be some experience
Yep.
other than the experience you would get from a family member.
Absolutely.
So the experience had to be working in a company. So the first company I joined was totally unrelated to my father's business, but it was a start straight out of university.
Yep.
It was Saudi Aramco,
Okay.
which is the oil company and
In Saudi.
national oil company here.
Yep.
They had an office in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And through family members, we knew somebody.
Okay.
So
And
that's
that's
usually
how
that's
you
the start.
got into Saudi Aramco. Um, when you were at, I mean, when you studied at university, was there a particular subject that you studied, like, or was it just straightforward business studies?
It started off as business, but I always took a liking to finance.
Okay.
So I ended up doing financial engineering for my master's,
Okay.
but it started off as business.
Financial
But
engineering. I mean,
yes,
is that to do with engineering your finances?
yes, correct. So that's not personal finances.
No, no,
It's more
no. But
like,
companies,
yeah,
organizations, economies, countries, all that kind of stuff, right?
correct. Yes.
That's
So
amazing.
it's
That's the
breaking down the numbers,
that's the first
reverse
degree
engineering them.
like this. Engineering, you know. I mean, when you put engineering, it's either mechanical, chemical, civil, you know, all that.
Correct.
This is like financial engineering. It's absolutely hear that. Um, so once you finish your degree, then you join into Saudi Aramco. How was it there? How was it working in a Middle Eastern company, but in Hong Kong? I mean, if you
So
can
actually,
dynamics, were they the same dynamics as you would have in working in Saudi, or totally different?
well, the dynamic is when you have your friends also graduating at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a friend who goes into finance, friend who becomes a doctor,
Yep.
all very high stress
Yep.
jobs.
Yep.
But then bringing the Saudi culture into Hong Kong, it really, really is very chilled out compared to
Okay.
working for a Western company.
Okay. So chilled out meaning I'm sure the Muslim company, I mean, the Muslim countries are pretty chilled out in terms of working, or no, there is that fast-paced ethics in there.
There is,
Okay.
especially here in Saudi.
Okay.
Honestly, I came to Saudi with, like you've heard about Saudi before.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're expecting something, but then you arrive and you're like, oh wow, okay.
So
So
it's
they've taken the best from everywhere and brought it to Saudi.
brought it to Saudi. Yeah.
So actually, all the guys that came to open the Hong Kong Aramco office were at the top of their game.
Okay.
So I was already learning things very quickly because they selected the top guys from Saudi and brought them to Hong Kong.
And while you were working there in Hong Kong, obviously in the company, it would be a very Muslim environment, you know, I mean, working with the same people, the Arabs, all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
But when you go outside, it's like you're in a totally different world altogether.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
So did that have a major role in the thought process that you went through? I mean, you would have to have two kinds of thought processes, right? One is when you are outside the company in Hong Kong, and one you are when inside the company in Hong Kong. Was there a major difference with that?
There wasn't. Honestly, because the guys who came over from Saudi already had 10, 20, 30 years of international experience.
Okay.
So they maintained that in the office because of, you have client meetings,
Yeah.
so they didn't make a huge shift
Okay.
between the Islamic or Muslim culture and the
Cool.
regular business culture in Hong Kong.
Okay. And while you were working in Hong Kong under Saudi Aramco, and I'm sure you must have had a lot of friends who were Southeast Asian friends, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, how did they talk about their companies or the dynamics within their companies? Were they different to the dynamics within your company that you were working in?
Yes, I mean, it was always in terms of stress. In Hong Kong, it's very, very fast paced.
Yeah,
Uh, Anything that would usually take 15 minutes in a Middle Eastern company,
half an hour,
a
1 hour,
week.
a week.
Oh, wow. No, no,
Joking?
no. Really, I personally experienced it.
Seriously?
Yes. So it was a huge, huge change for me. I'm
Wow.
used to the Hong Kong,
Lifestyle.
everything has to be fast. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Um, so I'm sure there are quite a few people that are going to listen to this. Um, were there any hardships that you faced while you were at Saudi Aramco in Hong Kong?
None at all. None.
No, nothing whatsoever.
No.
I mean, no struggles, no negativity. It was all pretty much, apart from the slow-paced work ethics, but everything was pretty much, the principles were right. There was no
It,
anxiety
it was,
stuff. It was normal working environment, if I may say it that way.
if not better for me. Like I honestly, coming into work for the first time,
Yep.
I was already expecting what my friends have been telling me.
Okay.
But when I realized, okay, actually here, this is, you can learn things at a
Yep.
good pace.
Yep.
There's good mentors. So it was a perfect start.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, the reason I ask you this question is because there are a lot of youngsters these days, being in London, a lot of people think that, maybe we can go and work in Saudi or the Middle East, like, for example, Qatar right now with all their Olympics and everything that's going on.
Right.
There are opportunities out there, with the Middle Eastern countries, 2030 vision in Saudi, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people dream or aspire to go to these Middle Eastern countries and work there. So it's good that you're sharing these ethics and values of how the companies actually work. I mean, it's the same working environment, maybe a slightly slow, but it's the same working environment, which is good to hear because not many people, or possibly majority of the people, have the idea out here that it's a Muslim environment. It may be a stronger environment. That's the perception or stereotypical perception that a lot of people have out here.
Correct. And I was one of them, to be fair. I mean, coming from Hong Kong, moving to Saudi,
Yeah.
I thought about it more than once, believe me.
So you mentioned that your father was into import and export. So once you are you still at Saudi Aramco?
No, no. I moved to a private Saudi
Right.
company.
Okay. So when you finished with Saudi Aramco, how many years were you at Saudi Aramco for?
4 years.
Okay. And then when you
So,
finished that, what did you get? What did you start doing after?
so I wanted, now that I had what I believed was a lifetime of experience. It was only 4 years, but it felt like it.
Mm.
So I wanted to shift industries to something closer to what my father did, but still not there yet, which was sourcing. I mean, with import and export, it wasn't just shipping and logistics, it was
The right
the
product.
actual sourcing. Correct.
And this is what I
Fine.
want. If you can elaborate on this as well, that how did you go through about sourcing products and all that kind of stuff? It'd be
Sure. So when I joined this company, which was an American company that had their sourcing office in Hong Kong,
okay.
which is the closest place to China.
Okay.
So again, having the speed of business in Hong Kong and learning how to do the sourcing efficiently
Yep.
would later on possibly improve my father's business.
Okay.
So that was the goal. How did they source? How did they do it efficiently?
Yep.
Granted, it was a massive operation, but the idea was the same. You have a sourcing manager
Yep.
in charge of a product,
Yep.
in charge of a manufacturer, and you had to
Go
keep
through.
that cycle going.
Yep.
Yes.
So
So
is it? I mean, when you were at this sourcing company, um, what were you sourcing? What kind of products were you sourcing?
the actual company was a appliance manufacturer. If you've heard of Revel, Oster, Mr. Coffee, they make all these home appliances.
Okay, okay, okay,
They're more popular in the US than
okay,
anywhere else.
okay,
So the sourcing from my side was for they have these packing machines
okay.
where it's like a motor, and you take the air out of a bag to seal food,
Like a vacuum pack kind
like a
of.
vacuum pack.
Gotcha. Okay,
So it was a manufacturer was a Korean company,
okay.
and the process was just incredible for me to learn how a product starts from nothing and how it reaches the end consumer.
And did you have to travel the world to source this product, or no? This came to you directly in Hong Kong, and then you went through different companies to source the product that your company wanted.
No, I mean, it was direct with the manufacturer, so it was basically Korea.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So did you have to go to Korea to
Yes, for
test
sure.
everything? Okay.
You test everything, and we consistently have to negotiate pricing. When I compare it to the traditional Middle Eastern version,
Yep.
let's say,
Yep. Yep.
if the price is good, we stick with the price.
And if it's not good, then you bring it down. Um,
Exactly.
did you see a major difference in when you were working with Saudi Aramco to what you were working with this other company in Hong Kong, the sourcing company? Was there a major difference? I mean, obviously, the work must have been much more quicker than.
Extreme. It's the polar opposite.
I mean, 15 minutes of work would be done in 2 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Very fast paced. Everybody knows what they're doing, and
Yeah,
it's like clockwork.
to the point.
Yes.
And how long were you at this company for?
4 years as well, or just under 4 years. It
Okay.
seems like it's a
It's
cycle.
it's like a university graduation, right? The university course is
Exactly.
3 years, unless you're doing a master's, which is a year. But then life sort of moves on. It's good that because I come from a background where my father he didn't have a business, but he's taken out till today. He's taken out his whole life at one company,
Okay.
and he never shifted from that company to another company, even doing the same thing either. It was just one company, and he's still there today. So it's been like 45 years that he's been doing this for.
Wow. Okay.
So it's good to hear that people shift companies in order to find the right experience where they can use it to generate more business, possibly for their own company or for the other company that they be working for. Once you finished up with the sourcing company, then what was?
So that was around the time that I got married.
Okay.
I brought my wife over to Hong Kong, and then we made a very spontaneous decision. I had a call with a friend. He said, I know somebody in Saudi Arabia. He used to be my classmate.
Okay.
And I trusted him. He was a colleague of mine. He said,
Okay.
this is where you want to go. And literally 1 week, packed up our house, off we go.
To Saudi.
To Saudi.
But then you did all that experience to join your father's company in Hong Kong.
Correct.
Why did you decide to leave that?
There was one part left.
Yeah.
The two companies, which is Saudi Aramco and Jarden, were both public companies.
Okay.
They worked in a different sort of environment. It was more corporate. You had to, there was structure that you had to abide by.
Yep.
So I had to learn that structure first.
Okay.
Then you want to apply that structure in a private company.
Got you.
Which is where I am now.
All right.
So
now I can see where it's going. So you got all that experience of how a company is structured up.
From a corporate level?
From the top all the way to the bottom, and then bring that experience, that structure into a private company.
Still not my own.
Am I right in
But
taking this to the fact that now that, so is this your testing or experimenting time
well done.
before you take it to your own company?
Correct.
That's great.
Or
It's good,
I'm now in
good
the
to you
process
because
of doing both.
I mean, I'm a businessman as well, and I deal with properties in London, in the
Right.
UK, investments, all that kind of stuff. But how it was for me, like I mentioned, my father did not have a business that I could go up and get all these experiences and think in a wider prospect of how I can take my father's business to another level. So I finished university. I got a job at a private real estate agency. After that, estate agency sold their business, and I then started up my own company.
Mhm.
So everything that I'm applying today in my business is possibly what I've learned over the 11 years of doing real estate. So it's good to hear these facts that if you have a family run business, get your experience somewhere, apply it in another company, make the mistakes in the other company, then bring it back to your company so that you
When
don't.
it's polished. That's
Absolutely.
it.
It's an amazing sort of attitude to have towards business. It's absolutely amazing. Possibly that's what financial engineering teaches you
Possibly. Yes.
then. It's good to hear that. So now that you're at this private company in Saudi, what's it called?
It's called Gas and Oil Technologies,
Okay.
GoTech for short.
Okay. And what
We
do they?
provide new technologies, drilling upstream technologies to Saudi Aramco. So I've taken the loop all the way around now.
Circle is sort of uh, everything is around Saudi Aramco within what you're doing.
Especially here in the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. It's like Saudi Aramco town.
Okay.
Everything is run by Saudi Aramco here.
Okay.
But this time, instead of being an employee, you are now
You're
providing them with technology.
yeah. So what kind of technology is this? I mean, is this to drill the oil pretty much quick?
Yes.
Like,
Uh, these days, especially these days, it's all about cutting costs and efficiency. So we have to bring technologies that will save them money
and
in the
these are
long run.
technologies that you're applying into Saudi, or
Yes.
or no, your company is actually doing the research work behind it and everything.
No,
And
no, no.
okay,
We work sort of as an agent
okay, got you. So
for,
you're researching the products that are already out in the market, the technologies that are already out in the market, and then sort of shortlisting those technologies, taking it to Aramco, and then they decide on which technology to go for.
correct. But in some cases, they don't have to be out in the market yet either. I mean,
Okay.
we go even to startup level
Okay.
and
So
see if somebody's about to come out with a technology.
gotcha. In
So
in our world, in the real estate world, we call it the off-market property.
off
The
market.
off-market property and the on-market property. The on-market is with everyone. The whole world knows about it.
Exactly.
The off-market is only the broker that knows about it, and it's just about to launch. And before it launches, someone comes and picks it up.
So which one's better?
Depends where you want to make more money on. I mean, off-market, the fact is it's not going to be on the market. So even if you bought it and let's say in a month's time you want to flip it,
Yeah.
you could make a 10% gain on it. Whereas you see, like if it were on the market and you wanted to make a quick gain on it in a month's time of
Yeah.
10%, it wouldn't be possible. Why? Because that property would have been listed a month ago, and I don't know if you've used certain portals that are in the UK over here, which are Zoopla or Rightmove, all these places.
I've
Um,
heard of them. Yeah.
so these companies, what they do is when you list a property onto that portal, they keep that information for years upon years.
Yeah.
So if you try to make a quick buck out of selling that property in a month's time,
Mhm.
the chances are that the buyer who buys it, he will go on to Rightmove and search for that property, and it would come up that so and so paid so and so amount of money for it,
Mm.
and now he's flipping it. Whereas off market, Rightmove and Zoopla wouldn't have it,
Okay.
right?
So it's private.
And basically, like over here, there's the land registry also, which is everywhere. You register the sale. For the land registry details to come out on that property, it takes about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
So if you wanted to flip it in a month's time, there's no record. So that's how an off-market property can in turn make the gains that you want. So all these lands and a lot of these derelict or rundown properties that are available in London, not only London, but the rest of the UK, are always off-market kind of thing, because not everyone wants to list them. And a lot of the buyers like to make this quick buck on
Right.
land or the property, whatever. So they all prefer this off-market sale. Whereas my saying is, if I have a property, it'd be off-market or on-market, and if you want it, I can deliver it. It's not an issue. So,
Right.
but it's just that thing. I mean, you wouldn't make more than 10%. It's never the case. You wouldn't make in 1 month's time. You cannot somehow or the other, the information would leak out somewhere. But it's good that just to compare it in a way where startups and how property is kind of related.
Yeah.
So the technology that is being brought in right now in possibly the world's largest oil company. Is it the world's largest oil company?
It is.
The world's largest oil company in the world right now. This technology, is it in line with the 2030 vision that you have? Or the Saudi prince has, the crown prince?
You're actually 2030 is the ultimate vision for the entire kingdom, right?
Yeah.
But specific to oil and gas, there's let's say, a secondary vision, which is called IKTVA.
Okay.
That's in kingdom total value add.
Okay.
That's what it stands for.
Okay.
Now, this initiative is basically localization.
Okay.
It's the first step in localization.
Okay.
And the more a company can localize, the more benefit it gets with Saudi Aramco and within the kingdom.
That's good. I mean, the
So it's
visions
about
are there, and the fact that people are actually working towards that vision, which is a good thing.
yes,
Normally, I'll take Pakistan's example, for example. Imran Khan came in and he said that I want to do this, 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 but it's not happening. And why it's not happening? Because the people are not wanting it to happen, or people are so backward or in certain ways that they are not wanting to move that vision that Imran Khan has to take Pakistan to another level is not happening. Whereas we see it in Saudi right now, that the king and the crown prince said something, and this was way back that they spoke about the 2030 vision. And till this day, each and every person that I speak to from Saudi, like the other week that I was speaking to another lady, a businesswoman from Saudi, they were also mentioning how they are working towards the vision of 2030 and making it possible that we deliver what our king or crown prince wants, which is great, which is absolutely amazing. It's commendable that in this day and age that there are people out there that will look at all of this. Question: you mentioned you had the British nationality. Do you also have the Saudi nationality now?
No, I don't. I don't think I can get one.
I think I should not ask you a diplomatic question on this one. We'll leave it. But maybe on a personal basis, I might ask you one day.
Sure.
So coming back to what you're doing, and it's fascinating about learning about all of this stuff. Now, when do you think you are going to possibly apply that into your father's company, the vision that he has?
It's already begun.
Oh,
So
good.
what I discovered here in Saudi
Yep,
is this society is extremely entrepreneurial by nature.
absolutely.
So things that I wouldn't have seen in Asia,
In the blood of our people, it's like
yes,
we need to be businessmen. And if you go back, like we the Prophet's time,
right,
Hashim tribe, the Hashim tribe that they speak about were all businessmen. They used to
right,
take their stuff from Mecca to Syria to sell it over there, all that kind of
yes,
stuff.
yes,
And it's the same.
all about trading,
People have
yes,
the entrepreneurial, business orientated blood that we should all think about. But obviously times get tough for people, and people cannot sustain their business like in today's day and age. And this is what I want to talk to you about, that your father created this business all these years ago in Hong Kong,
yeah.
and bringing it, fast forwarding it to today, 2020, where we have COVID, we have lockdown, we have all of this stuff. How are you, or how is your father's company adopting to that? And even Saudi, for example, how is Saudi adopting to all of this? It'd be your company, it'd be Saudi Aramco, it'd be your father's company, and other businesses in Saudi. How are they adopting to the fact that we are now moving into a territory that we don't know about?
I think the term that I recently heard was recession proofing
Or new
businesses.
normal,
Sorry,
or new normal. It's called the new
or the
normal.
new normal,
Yep.
or the new normal. Um, what I'm finding now is, at least from the younger generation, I'm going to include myself in that generation. It's about passive income.
Yep.
And is it truly possible? Absolutely. But what I found was my recent example was a software company that I started in Saudi Arabia. Now, I don't know who's watching this. Technically, I cannot start a company in Saudi Arabia, but there's ways. Now, having a software company, in my opinion, has been the fastest. Because, I mean, I'm receiving questions quite a lot these days from people. How do you make money online? What do I do? I'm at home. I lost my job. What do I do? And you keep receiving this question, and you're thinking, well, I need to find a way that I can tell everybody how to do it. And I've been doing that for the past 6 years. And I've come to the conclusion that software, for anything, be it for real estate, for
Oil
for a massage parlor, it
parlor.
doesn't matter.
Yep.
I found that the fastest way and the most passive way was to create a software to solve somebody's problem. Lead generation, another passive option. Everybody wants leads. They want them more and more today
More and more,
with the
and
lockdown.
the fact that they should be qualified. You know.
They have to be qualified for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I would go as far as to say they should be exclusive and qualified. Because with lead generation, you can sell the same lead to 20 different people.
Exactly.
Then it's
Exactly.
right. So I found with software,
Do you think
which
a
is
lot
the first thing that I tried here.
of companies do that kind of stuff?
Sorry.
Do a lot of these lead generation companies do this? They sell the lead to a lot of other companies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody will know any difference. Whoever can sell it better wins. But if you're exclusive and you can prove it that you're selling the lead one time because you have a flow of leads coming in, there's no issue.
Absolutely.
And I think this works for everybody. It's helping you at home. It's helping people who really need more clients today.
Absolutely.
Right. So, I mean, I didn't go down the lead gen route. I'm currently working on that as a side business. but the software it happened by chance. And that's when I realized it's actually extremely simple these days. You can sit at home right now. Think of a problem in real estate, for example, that everybody faces on a daily basis that can be solved by a small program.
Yep.
You don't need to know how to code anything. I don't know how to code.
But you get
But then you have a website like Upwork. You can get it done in no time.
Yep.
So I found
you found
this sort of strategy
to solve a problem through the software. I mean, I won't go into much detail about it because you've not launched it. But when are you planning to launch it?
No, it's launched.
Oh, it's launched already.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been.
So is it just Saudi?
2 years ago.
Is it worldwide?
It's based for Saudi because it's to do with the conversion of a local report.
Okay.
That's issued by Saudi Aramco.
Okay.
So it's a conversion software to
Gotcha.
make it easier for companies to analyze drilling activity
Gotcha.
in the kingdom.
That's amazing.
But it can be applied anyway.
So you've got your hands into so many other things. I mean, this is the whole reason of speaking to entrepreneurs like yourself from all around the world. You know, it's to see how they have gone about and achieved what they have achieved. Because there might be a youngster or a university going student, a master student, a person who's just started in their jobs, a person who's just been made redundant from their job, a person who's experienced furlough for the first time in their life. This is why I want to do this. And this is why I am doing this with a lot of other people throughout the world, to come out, share your story so that we can pass on that positivity to people who have that question mark on themselves right now. What do I do? How do I go about setting up my life or getting the experience? Or like you mentioned, how do I solve this problem? You know, how do I solve the problem? So many unemployed people, you know. So this is what my thing is. Of going out live and speaking to people like yourself. So now that you've got your hands set up and you've set up everything that you wanted to so far, I know you've got a long life to go ahead, and I wish you all the best. What's next in your world?
That's a very good question. But just as fast as I picked up and left Hong Kong after 30 years, I have no issues doing it again.
It could happen overnight, and you might decide, okay, I want to come.
You never know. You never know. I can't really answer the question yet.
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
I'll update you for sure when I figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I want to have as many live sessions with people, you know, like with the same people again and again to discuss of how they're moving in life and everything. But I don't want to sort of forget my, I don't know, what should I call it? My day job, which is selling property. But
all you need to do is add sponsorship to this and you're done. That's your new job.
Right now, I don't think that anyone would want to sponsor this. Well, whoever, it's a good idea. If anyone's a sponsor out there and want to sponsor my live sessions, do get in touch. But thank you so much for joining me, Mr.
My pleasure.
Pleasure to speak to you, to discuss about how you have seen or you have taken your life from one step to another, learning things, experiencing life, work, professionalism, and bringing that back together for what? For your father's family business that he started so that you can take it forward for your kids and their kids and so on, you know. This is what a family business is all about, that we keep it within our family for generations and years to come. And I think this is what my analogy is, and this is why I started my property business, that when my kids grow up, yes, go out, and if one wants to become a doctor, I'm not going to stop them. If one wants to become an architect, I'm not going to. But if they want to go out and do business, then come and do business here. You know,
Yeah,
um,
sure.
and selling property is not that hard. It's not like petrol and oil and all that kind of.
I might have to learn that. Maybe I can add it to the portfolio.
But if you're looking for a property in London or anyone, do get in touch with me.
Will do.
I'll be happy to help. But thank you so much for joining me today,
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
and great to know about all the knowledge, all the positivity that you've shared so far. And we'll do this again. I'll be in touch soon, maybe in a month, 2 months, 3 months, and
Sure.
see how things are going with you. But thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.
Salam. Bye-bye.
Walaikum salam. Bye-bye. So that was Mr. Rami, all the way from Saudi Arabia, business entrepreneur. I'm sure that you got inspired by what he's done, how he's done it, like the things that he mentioned of learning, experiencing, and bringing it back and applying it within your family business. Absolutely amazing. A lot of people think about doing these things but cannot. But do listen to this live session. It's been an absolute amazing live session to have, and the last one, I guess, of the day. Kevin, we've got our session on Thursday. I'm going to see you then, and thank you so much to all those that tuned in. See you soon. Have a great evening, Monday evening, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Enjoy your time. Take care. Bye-bye. Shaf, yes, hello. Why don't you DM me about what you want to say, so we can take it from there. So once again, take care. Bye. Bye-bye.